one of the most famous fighters of his generation, fighting in one of the famous stadiums in the world. Can you imagine being AJ right now? A lot of pressure too, though. Don't get it twisted. You've got to perform in front of 96,000 of your closest friends.
But mamma mia, Rosie, a social media sensation turned boxer, has turned the sport on its ear. This is incredible. And what must be going through this 27-year-old's mind, like so many members of his generation, dealing with mental health issues?
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua has created intense debate among boxing experts. Most believe Joshua would control the fight because of his size, power, and high-level heavyweight experience. His Olympic background and knockout record give him a major edge. Jake Paul has improved with wins over MMA fighters and lower-tier boxers, but he has never faced a true world-class heavyweight. Analysts say Paul's only hope will be landing an early unexpected shot, while Joshua's discipline and jab would likely take over the fight. Many expect Joshua to score a clear stoppage within a few rounds. While the matchup is exciting for fans, professionals strongly see Joshua winning with ease.
I mean, there's nothing to report to you that it's close, or, there's a lot of hoops to jump through. Of course, AJ is exclusive to DAZN. We also work very closely with His Excellency, and although we have no contract with him, we're in talks for big fights next year, of course, Tyson Fury being one of them. So we'd definitely give him the respect of making sure that he was aware of the plan and, part of that plan as well. But at the moment, there's nothing major to report on that. Would we take the fight? Absolutely. I think Jake would be... my estimations of Jake Paul would go through the roof if he signs to fight Anthony Joshua, because I just can't believe in my mind that he would do something like that. Gervonta was a smart one because of his size. I think actually he would have had a lot of success against Jake Paul, but the size is a problem. But this would just be, if Jake Paul was to take the fight with AJ, you'd really have to maybe carry his balls in a wheelbarrow on the ring walk, because AJ wouldn't mess around in there, so it would be huge, but nothing to tell you it's close.
The fight between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua is now set for December 19th, 2025 at the Casa Center, Miami, and will stream worldwide on Netflix. This is not an exhibition. It is a fully sanctioned professional heavyweight fight under Queensberry rules with 8 rounds of 3 minutes, each using 10-ounce gloves. To level the field, Joshua has agreed to a weight cap of 245 pounds, which is much lighter than his usual fighting weight. With both men putting their records at risk, this high-stakes matchup carries real consequences. A knockout or clear finish is absolutely possible.
The two-time unified heavyweight world champion Anthony Joshua on Friday, December the 19th in Miami, Florida. It's going to be an 8-round fight with 3-minute rounds and 10-ounce gloves. It's Joshua's first fight since being knocked out by Daniel Dubois in September last year. Jake Paul won a unanimous decision against veteran Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. earlier this year. Well, Jake Paul said this: a professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt disappears and no one can deny me the opportunity to fight for a world title. To all my haters, this is what you wanted. To the people of the United
Boxing community and fans have voiced strong reactions to Jake Paul's challenge to Anthony Joshua. Many believe Paul's goal of taking on an experienced heavyweight like Joshua is unrealistic and far too ambitious.
That was the more delusional aspect of this. Amanda Serrano said, "At Jake Paul is the truth." Funny, they say he's a fraud for wanting easy fights, then he asked for the toughest fights ever, and they say he's nuts. Listen, he was scheduled to fight Canelo, Gervonta, and now he's calling out Joshua. Come on, who else is doing this? Oh crap, on second thought, he is out of his freaking mind, you're right. That was more of just Amanda backing her guy, you know what I'm saying, the co-founder of MVP.
But Dave Allen strongly warns that Anthony Joshua could damage his reputation by taking a fight with Jake Paul. He argues that if Paul even lands one clean punch, it could hurt everything Joshua has achieved in his career. Allen believes the matchup is driven more by entertainment than sport and doubts Joshua would want to risk that. He says many dedicated boxing fans would view the fight as a step down, and Joshua could lose respect in the boxing world by facing a YouTuber turned boxer like Paul.
Anthony Joshua cannot box Jake Paul. Horrific. He's dangerous for one, and two, if Jake Paul even lands a glove on him, it just diminishes everything that he's achieved. Jake Paul won't last 2 minutes for me. Never mind Anthony Joshua. It's ridiculous. It's a joke.
If AJ does say yes to going in against Jake Paul, does he harm his legacy?
I would lose a bit of respect for him, and I think a lot of boxing people would as well, to be honest. Why would he box him? Two-time heavyweight champion of the world, one of the best heavyweights the last 20 years, held British boxing on his back. People might say he deserves to box Jake Paul. But why though? Why would he do it?
Did you lose respect for him when he fought Ngannou? Did you lose respect for Fury when he fought Ngannou?
Ngannou's a serious fighting man. World champion of mixed martial arts.
It's a worrying thing, potentially, the damage that AJ could do to Jake Paul.
He'll hurt him. Yeah, Jake Paul is a cruiserweight. You wouldn't put the Midlands area cruiserweight champion in with Anthony Joshua. So why would you put Jake Paul in there? Just because he's a superstar? Whatever. I don't know what he does. What does he do? What is he?
A YouTuber.
YouTuber. It's just not worth it. He's got enough money as it is. Why risk all that for a few more quid? I don't like it. I hope it.
Since the fight is expected to be a real sanctioned bout rather than an exhibition, Roy Jones Jr. has voiced doubts about Jake Paul ever becoming a true world champion. He says Paul has mostly avoided opponents who are genuinely battle-tested, and if he steps in with highly experienced boxers, they would likely beat him. Jones accepts that Paul might earn a title shot someday, but believes it would only come under very favorable conditions. He remains doubtful about Paul's chances of winning an actual championship.
They make him fight tough opponents, guys with experience. Those guys will beat him. Now, if you catch somebody like myself at the end of their career, or somebody like Tyson, he caught it in their career, the chances are much higher. Because now it becomes more of a 50-50. You got a guy who's better than him, but the age factor. You understand me? And that's the only way to balance it for him to make it a 50-50 fight. Somebody who's on his level at the same age, those guys have too much experience. You understand me? So he's not going to beat those guys. But you find a guy who is past his prime, who has the mentality further than his, but past their prime, it kind of evens.
Anthony Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn has dismissed Jake Paul's boxing ability, calling him an average fighter. Hearn has repeatedly questioned whether Paul can handle top-level competition, especially against someone like Joshua. He says that while Paul has made progress, he is still nowhere near the level required to face elite heavyweights.
Yes, I know these guys. They're unbelievably bright. I mean, Logan, much brighter than Jake, in my opinion. But Jake's smart. Okay. We have our ups and downs. Yeah. Like, I respect Jake. I actually respect him in a boxing sense as well. But we fell out because I told him he was average. That's actually a compliment. Like, to be an average fighter, coming to this kid who's 26, 27, decides to go into boxing. We had a conversation where he's actually telling me he's going to beat Canelo Alvarez. And
Eddie Hearn also pointed out Jake Paul's bold claims, including a statement that he could beat Canelo Alvarez. Hearn called this claim crazy and believes Paul is seriously overrating his abilities. While Paul has beaten former MMA fighters and lower-level boxers, the idea that he could challenge top-tier fighters like Canelo or Joshua is viewed as unrealistic by many experts.
To fight, they were both on a call to each other earlier, and the viral video went round of Jake Paul saying he would knock out Anthony Joshua. If I'm being completely honest, I think Jake Paul would actually be lucky to make it out alive, and I'm actually being dead serious. I think Jake Paul would be lucky to make it out of the ring with Anthony Joshua alive. Tyron Woodley literally had Jake Paul on skates and had Jake Paul panicking for his life. Imagine what Anthony Joshua would do. Look at what Joshua did to the last non-boxer he fought in Francis Ngannou. That is not going to end well for Jake Paul. But look, let's be real here. This fight should never happen. It's an absolute disgrace to the sport if it does. And yeah, there's got to be a lot of backlash if this actually happens, because it's actually probably worse to the sport of boxing than what Fury and Ngannou was when it came around, or Mayweather McGregor.
Simon Jordan, the former Crystal Palace owner and outspoken boxing commentator, has delivered a strong warning to Jake Paul about his proposed fight with Anthony Joshua. Jordan says the matchup disrespects the sport, arguing that Paul does not have the skill or legitimacy to face a heavyweight star like Joshua. He believes the fight hurts boxing's credibility and reflects what is wrong with the sport today. according to Jordan Paul, will be completely outmatched in such a bout. He says it is not only a dangerous move for Paul, but also something that could weaken Joshua's legacy by turning a serious fight into a spectacle.
Considered in the equation, not his financial welfare, but Jake Paul going into a fight with Anthony Joshua, to me, is absurd. I mean, Anthony Joshua is a legitimate two-time heavyweight champion of the world. He may have got destroyed by Daniel Dubois, but notwithstanding, there's nothing physically wrong with Anthony Joshua that he can't execute. Mentally, he might be in a little bit of a difficult position after the loss to Daniel Dubois. Jake Paul, if this is not going to be, curated into a little dance around exhibition, could find himself in the way of getting seriously hurt here, like Francis Ngannou did. Francis Ngannou was an MMA fighter that got blasted out by Anthony Joshua. A fitter, more focused Anthony Joshua than the version that we've got now, possibly. But this, to me, is everything that's wrong with boxing. It's a money play, nothing wrong. I don't begrudge Anthony Joshua getting 50 million quid for an easy night's work. That's fantastic returns. Most people would take it. From the boxing world, Jake Paul is now a professional fighter. Whether we categorise him as a YouTuber or not, he's licensed to fight, which means that the governing body should be suggesting that this is not a fight that possibly they should be looking to sanction.
Yeah.
But they will, because the sanctioning fees will be enormous. Anthony Joshua will not lose his legacy like some people are suggesting, because no one will remember it in 2 or 3 years' time. If he embarrasses himself in there, they'll remember it. But if he goes in and knocks him out in 30 seconds flat, or turns it into a little bit more of a sort of Jake LaMotta raging bull, holding him up for a few rounds and then knocking him out, then people will forgive it. He'll get a big bag of money, which most people in the world would take, and move on. And then we'll see if he fights anybody meaningful in the year. I mean, it is like sport has become. And what I got my head around on Saturday night was the entertainment value of Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. The fighting of itself, I could be all pious about it, but the entertainment industry is so prevalent in sport now. This is entertainment. This is going to have hundreds of millions of people watching it. And Anthony Joshua gets paid, and Jake Paul hopefully gets flattened.
Simon, I know the money's there, but does ultimately boxing get damaged?
Well, I think so. But I think boxing damages itself left, right and centre. But I think the reputability and the credibility of some of these boxing sanctioning bodies is poor anyway. But I think it does get damaged.
Even if it's an exhibition fight, which it might well be.
Well, then what's the jeopardy in that? If it's an exhibition fight, which it shouldn't be, if it's a proper fight, then Jake Paul is going to get demolished.
David Benavidez has recognized that Jake Paul is one of the biggest draws in boxing when it comes to tension and selling fights. While many purists question Paul's skill level, Benavidez believes his involvement brings excitement to the sport and creates major financial opportunities.
I'm here with David Benavidez. What are you looking forward to the most tonight at Bare Knuckle?
Honestly, it's my first time being at a bare knuckle fight, and it's already started amazing. And I'm just here to come to see the gore, the blood, and all that. So it's been living up to the hype.
I want to ask you about Jake Paul wanting to fight Anthony Joshua. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a good fight. If they can make it happen, then let's do it. You know what I mean? Jake Paul is a big household name. Anthony Joshua, needless to say, he's one of the greatest champions of boxing. So if they can get it done, that'll be a huge fight for boxing. And I said, let's do it.
You were in the talks to fight for the belt. What are your thoughts on that? Is it in the works? And when is it happening?
So right now we're trying to negotiate the fight. It might be in the works for September, but we don't know. You know, everything in boxing is not 100%. So we're just going to keep trying to negotiate the fight. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But
veteran heavyweight Derek Chisora has sharply criticized the idea of Jake Paul getting a WBC ranking, calling it disrespectful to boxing. Chisora said real fighters work hard to move up the rankings, while Paul facing non-ranked or past prime opponents would rise mainly because of fame rather than merit. He accused WBC President Mauricio Sullian of trading credibility for money and said that it is a disgrace to boxing and completely unfair. Chisora stressed that proper ranking should be earned through real competition in the ring, not handed out for clicks or promotional hype.
Enough for real athletes, for real boxers to gain those rankings, and then suddenly this Solomon Tuesday decides to give double ranking because he's getting some greens in his, in his back pocket. No,
Lawrence Akoli has expressed serious concerns about Jake Paul's potential fight with Anthony Joshua, warning it could be a major safety risk. Although Akoli once sparred with Paul and praised his dedication and mindset, he now believes facing AJ, who has elite power and skill, would be dangerously uneven. Many boxing professionals share this worry. Eddie Hearn called it dangerous, very dangerous. Frank Warren highlighted Joshua's clear physical advantage, and former world champion Amir Khan also warned Paul that he could get seriously hurt in the ring against Joshua.
Can't see it happening. I can't. Although yes, lots of money, so on and so forth. I can't see it. I just can't. It just obviously
seems
as someone
wrong.
who's been a unified heavyweight world champion going in against Jake Paul, it doesn't sit right. Yeah, and it's like I'm also talking from a health and safety factor. It's like he's maybe a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua's a very big, strong heavyweight, and if he turns it on, it's not just a risk of a knockout. It's a much bigger risk. So I can't see it personally.
Former world champion Carl Froch does not see Jake Paul as a serious boxer. Froch says Paul does not really know how to box and mostly just moves around the ring. After watching Paul's fight with Tommy Fury, Froch called it a total mismatch and said Paul is far from being a legitimate contender.